Okay, I want to just do a quick video with some clarification about a previous video that I did a while back, talking about the narrative theory and its origins, and I call it the structuralist narrative theory. Um, and what I wanted to make sure that I clarify exactly what I meant, because if people took it the wrong way, it could really make me look like I haven't got a fucking clue what I'm talking about. So I just want to really clarify. So what I attempt to explain is how we came, how like society, I guess, or how the general world over time came to understand how we understand how to make a story, and what a story even is. And I lumped in structuralism with that. And what I want to clear up is, when I say structuralist narrative theory, I don't want to imply that structuralism seeks to understand what narratives are and what stories are and how to make a story, because that's not what structuralism is. The way I understand it is, I could be wrong, but I think that the way I understand structuralism is that it seeks to understand the underlying structures of culture and the human psyche, right? So there's this idea of, well, the human psyche and culture as a whole have these sort of underlying structures that if we just analyze different things, we can understand what they are. So like we can understand how people think and stuff. So I think that's about the gist of it. But if I've missed anything, let me know. One of the ways that people who were structuralists sought to find out the answers that they were looking for, so these underlying structures, was to look at different aspects of culture and human creation, as I understand it, such as, I don't know, the arts, literature, and narrative. And they thought, well, if we analyze narratives, maybe we might find some sort of we might find things that imply what these underlying structures in the human psyche might be. And so there's this whole thing about analyzing all these narratives and folktales and myths were a really popular one because they've stuck around for the longest, and so there must be some truth, there must be something true about them. And this is what Joseph Campbell came to do. He analysed all these myths, but there's loads of them. And with the pursuit of, well, doing this under the pursuit of structuralism was to find those underlying structures in the psyche. Now, the reason why this is important is because the majority of people who analysed all of these narratives and came up with all of these ideas about these underlying structures is the majority of the information that everyone goes off of to understand how to make a story. And so the theory about what a story is and how it can be made, how we make stories, is based off of the work done by structuralists seeking to understand the underlying structures of the human psyche by analysing narratives. There's a knock-on effect that just by doing that slowly actually developed our understanding of stories themselves. And so all of these things like story structures that you hear about, a lot of the actual mindset of what stories are and how you make them comes from all of the work that structuralists did to analyse the underlying structures of the human psyche. And so that's really what I wanted to clarify. I wanted to make sure that people didn't think that I thought structuralism was wanting to seek out what stories are. It's like it only analysed stories in attempts to find these underlying structures of the human psyche. But in doing so, all of the work that people have ever done, not ever, but a lot of the work over the past 100 years, analysing stories in a very methodical way, was done through the pursuit of structuralism. And that had a knock-on effect of us actually just having a lot of understanding of narratives. And so, yeah, you really see that a lot of the information that is out there now is based on that work that the structuralists did. You'll see the hero's journey. That is work on what Joseph Campbell did. And that is now shaped how we understand how to even make a story. We're like, oh, we've got a template here, just a hero's journey. Let's just make a story like that. And we've got, is this still recording? Yeah. We've got understandings of, what the fuck was I saying? We've got mindsets of how to even perceive what a story is. Like, oh, well, we've got these characters. We've got these types of events. We've got... I'm not going to go into it because I'm really going to go off. But it's really affected how we even perceive stories, as though we build them as though we have these structures that we can work off of. But that's not how we make stories. I think that the more natural way that we make stories is we experience stuff, then we think about it, and we think about how we can structure it, how we can organize that information to tell to someone, and then we go and tell someone. So where do those ideas come from? They don't come from these building blocks or templates, like these sort of pre-designed building blocks, like the call to action, or the I don't know, return with the Alexa, or I don't know, step out of the known worlds. Like, we don't think that way. We think about our experience, and then we organize how we're going to tell it to someone, and then we tell it. And sometimes we make art out of it, like films, TV shows, books, graphic novels, storytellings in person with these nice sets and music. And so I wanted to approach the whole idea of how we make stories in a different way, in a more natural way. And that's why I don't talk about story structures anymore, or templates, or even the common terms that you hear, like character arcs, story structures. Did I say character arcs? And just other terminology that you'll hear. The hero's journey. I don't really even like to refer to that anymore, because I don't like talking about stories as something like you construct using templates and stuff. So okay, that's just that cleaned up. I really wanted to clear that up with people, because that's been on my mind ever since. Someone was like, well, you clearly don't know what you're talking about, because that's not what structuralism is. It's like, that's not the fuck I was talking, that's not what I was trying to say. So there you go.